Hey everybody, today is November 27th, 2012, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how Windows 8 is doing so far since its release. Since it's been a month since Windows 8 has been released. And this will be my third video about Windows 8. My first video about Windows 8 was made back in the summer, and now it's like a rant video, just a make fun of video. I made in the living room talking about how Windows 8 was going to be next Vista coming. Now see, I made that video after I tried to develop a preview, and even when I first tried to develop a preview, I was very upset about what Microsoft has done with the next version of Windows. Now of course, I also wasn't very surprised because Microsoft seems to have a reputation with Windows to make a good version and make a sorry version, and a good version and a sorry version, and a good version and a sorry version. And later on, once Windows 8 was released on October 25th, I made a second video about Windows 8. And this is actually a more formal review of Windows 8. What I actually did was I installed Windows 8 on Mid-Tower Deluxe, my system, which has 12 gigs of RAM, and 1 terabyte RAID stripe, and 1 terabyte backup. And actually what I did is I installed it to a 320 gigabyte external drive. And like I say, the CPU in the system is an AMD FX 8120 at 4.2 gig, and the graphics card was an AMD Radeon HD 6750. So pretty nice system. And I installed Windows 8 on that and hampered the computer's capabilities by doing this review. And I had good things and bad things to report about Windows 8, and I had more bad things than good things to report about it. First and foremost, the start screen. I mean, seriously, Microsoft took away the start menu, and that's probably the most dumb thing they could ever do. Which is why it does not surprise me that Windows 8 sales are going very poorly right now. It's been a month since Windows 8 has been released, and I'm seeing many reports from websites about Windows 8's poor sales, and how Microsoft is very disappointed with Windows 8 sales and saying that Windows 8 sales are well below even the lowest end predictions. And even Newegg, vice president, has reported about very poor sales of Windows 8 licenses, and the desktop computers with Windows 8 pre-installed have been going slow and steady. That's not very good, but it's not surprising to me. I was actually expecting this to be happening, because Microsoft has really dropped the ball with Windows 8. And it's funny how I used to say that Windows Vista was real bad. Windows Vista is actually wonderful compared to Windows 8. If I had to choose between Vista and Windows 8, I would choose Vista all day long. Because, I mean, Vista is actually a productivity operating system. When you log in, you're greeted with a desktop, with a start button and start menu. The OS is fully loaded with features that come standard, like your Windows Media Center, your Windows Photo Gallery, Windows Movie Maker, all that stuff. And in Windows 8, you get greeted with this giant smartphone start screen interface that has all these little applications, or apps, as I like to call them, apps. And basically, these apps have the same functionality as those on a smartphone do. Really, really basic tasks, really hampering the capabilities of a personal computer. And I just don't quite understand why Microsoft has done this. I'm not sure what they were thinking. And just so you know, they even put this Metro start screen on Windows Server 2012, a server operating system with a smartphone interface. I mean, what genius thought of that? I mean, really, come on. I think you'd be better off to choosing Windows Server 2008 release 2. And Windows 7 still has a very high demand, because Windows 7 was the last operating system by Microsoft so far that was built very well and pleased its users. It's kind of like the second Windows XP, and that's why I consider Windows 7 the new XP for this Windows 8, which I consider the next Vista. If you thought the start screen was bad enough, consider this. Those apps in the start screen are so hard to use. There's no easy way to close them out. Everything is optimized for touch. Even though most of the computers, well actually all the computers I've seen in the stores, do not have touchscreens. if you look at my Q Computer Company Facebook page, you'll notice that I've posted quite a few things about Windows 8. And I could go to my local Walmart and look at the computers in Walmart, and none of them would have touchscreens, yet they had an operating system now is optimized for touch. And Microsoft urges Metro app developers to gear their software for touch. And to be honest with you, it's kind of like this. I would rather be sitting at my computer, typing on a keyboard, using a mouse, rather than having touch or swipe my monitors. I mean, how much sense does that make? Yeah, I'm going to touch this, and I'm going to start this app. I'm going to chat with my Facebook friends using this smartphone interface. Yeah, how much sense does that make? And you kind of get the idea now why Windows 8 is not doing so well. People do not want a smartphone tailored interface on their computers. Simple enough. And if you think the start screen and the Metro apps were bad enough, consider this. Windows 8 lacks features that Windows 7 and Vista have. For example, in Windows 8, to get DVD playback functionality, at least Microsoft software for DVD playback functionality in Windows Media Center, you gotta upgrade to the Windows 8 Pro version, and you have to purchase an additional media pack. So Microsoft, they just want your money. They just want your money. But yet you could go buy Windows 7 or Windows Vista, and those features come standard. Fresh out of the box, fresh installed Windows Vista or Windows 7. You have Windows Media Center, you have DVD playback functionality, you have a lot more stuff fresh out of the box. And considering that Windows 7 is so much easier to use and is actually designed for productivity, no wonder Windows 8 is not doing so well. Windows 7 was released in a high demand situation. Windows 8 is like, I don't want that. And also, not to mention, I've heard rumors about Microsoft Surface not doing so well too. And because of Windows 8's poorly designed interface, PC sales are also not doing very good. PC sales are actually decreasing over the past year or so. But Windows 8 sure is not helping, and I'm not seeing how anybody could actually think that Windows 8 would actually help PC sales. Here's what I think is actually happening more. People are just sticking with their Windows 7 computers, and if anything goes wrong, they get them fixed, rather than replacing the whole things. And those who have older computers are just buying refurbished Windows 7 computers because they don't want to mess with Windows 8. That's what I believe is actually happening more. But let's say you're wanting to get a new computer. And the thing is, with the OEMs, it doesn't make sense to me. OEMs like HP, they're saying no more Windows 7 computers. We're not supporting Windows 7 anymore. You can only buy a new Windows 8 PC from us. You cannot buy a Windows 7 preload on a PC anymore. See, that's what gets me. Is these companies, they're so worried about PC sales, but can't keep preloading Windows 7 on their computers. Windows 7 is still available. You can still buy it. There's definitely no issues at all with getting Windows 7. Because there's still, I mean, with the way Windows 8 is doing right now, it's just like the Vista days. There was a very high demand for Windows XP all the way up till 2009. XP still had a very, very high demand. And it's the same to say of Windows 7. Most businesses and enterprises are just now moving to Windows 7. For example, Central Piedmont Community College, that's where I go to school at. They are just now in the process of getting many of their computers moved over to Windows 7. Some of my classes have Windows 7 computers, and other classes still have Windows XP computers. Probably the best way to get a brand new computer with Windows 7, to avoid Windows 8 to get a computer with Windows 7, would be to check around and see if there's any older Windows 7 computers on clearance. Because I noticed at Walmart they still had a couple of computers marked down with Windows 7 pre-installed. Get them because they won't be there for long. And I think the best way to get Windows 7 on a brand new computer with the most advanced, newest hardware would be to go to a computer shop and have a system custom built and have Windows 7 installed. because these System Builder channel still has access to OEM copies of Windows 7. It's just like the way it was with Windows XP. Windows XP was cut off to the OEM companies, but system builders could get Windows XP through the OEM channel, no problem at all. And that, like I said, it's the same with Windows 7. Because you can go to Newegg.com and you can get Windows 7, Home Premium, Professional, Ultimate, all those versions with no issues at all. So anyways, before I wrap this video up, I'm going to explain a few more things. If Microsoft wants to make a better version of Windows, seeing their pattern the way it is, in the next version of Windows, they're going to have to either make the Metro interface optional or just get rid of it, because really, it's a waste of time, and the computer needs its start menu back. So you definitely put back the start button and the start menu that we all know and love, like what's on Windows 7. Put that back, because that's definitely what people are used to using. Bring back Windows Media Center to the Home Premium version. Don't make people have to buy the professional version of Windows and to buy an additional media pack. Don't lie and say that's because you're having a hard time with the cost of developing Windows Media Center software, because in Windows 8, the Windows Media Center is basically the same thing as Windows 7. That's one thing they haven't really messed with much, but they're making you pay for it in Windows 8. You're getting the same Media Center in Windows 8 that's in Windows 7, but you're having to pay for it. So you see where I'm getting at. Microsoft needs to bring Windows back to the way it was in Windows 7 if they want to boost the sales of PCs and make people satisfied. Otherwise, the OEM companies may start looking at Linux or other alternatives if Microsoft won't get their act together. So anyways, any questions or comments, feel free to ask them. Thanks for watching.